Hi, everybody. Welcome out to the Dice Tower. My name is Chris Yi.
And I'm Wendy Yi.
Today we're taking a look at El Paso, or Great Western Trail El Paso, which is a follow-up game to, I'll let you guess.
Great Western Trail?
That's correct.
Ooh,
So,
I did it. I got it right.
original designer Alexander Pfister returns, along with the co-designer Johannes Krenner in this one. So, yeah, this is a smaller, simplified game, kind of like Pirates of Maracaibo was to Maracaibo.
So Chris is going to give you a little overview of how this plays.
Here's Great Western Trail El Paso. It takes place on this cloth board here. There are starting buildings placed onto the map here. You can either do them in order as shown, or you can randomize them to create different setups. There's going to be a few different things. Here's my own player area with a little board here that I can upgrade. These are not wooden discs. These are cardboard punch-out wooden discs and wooden cube facsimiles to represent objects that are very common in games. But these are upgrades that you can produce from your board here. This is your worker area represented by these cards that you'll be adding into your deck, as well as cows, cattle of different values, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 5 that you'll be adding up to your deck here. This is my hand of cards. You're trying to have the most variety in your hand of cards as you get up to El Paso to trade it in for value, for stronger value. You can also construct these buildings over here onto the board and mark it with your cube facsimile so that there are spaces on the board that only you can go to, functionally. You can use it for the full action. Other players have to take a weaker action if they're there. So what does a turn look like? On your turn, you will move your person up to 3 spaces. If you upgrade your board, you might be able to get up to 4 movement instead. And there are also these little worker abilities here that you can discard these cards in order to gain a benefit, such as being able to move in additional space for each of these cowboys that you choose to discard on your turn. So normally I could move 1, 2, or 3 spaces. After the movement, you then take the actions of the space that you are on. You can either, on these common buildings or a building that you own, take the actions as printed on there, or you could take 2 of your auxiliary actions represented by these gears. You can unlock more auxiliary actions by taking these discs off of there. If you land on an opponent's occupied or owned building, then you only get to take 1 auxiliary action represented by a gear. So if I come over here, I can discard a black 2 Piney Woods card cattle from my deck to gain 2 money. I would take the money from the bank and add it to my area. I can purchase some of these tokens that allow me to exchange cards, draw 1, discard 1, and then you can do whatever else is shown on there. So for example, I could purchase new cattle. In order to take any of these actions that show a required number of workers, you have to be able to discard either train engineers or cattle or building people or cowboys. There are also wild workers that can count as any. So from here, I could discard these 2 as 2 cowboys into my discard pile to be able to purchase from here. Then I have to spend the $4, the $4, in order to take this Corriente cow into my discard pile. Once I go through my deck, I will be shuffling through here. So when you do redraw your hand, if you draw stronger cows, you're just adding to your value. But if you are drawing back up to your hand limit at the end of your turn, which is the last thing you do, and you reveal workers, you add them to your worker area available to use for future actions. So in this case, I would have drawn back up, and here's my hand now. Each player takes a turn, moving up to 3 steps, taking the actions, and then drawing back up. This continues until players reach El Paso, the top space here, with a hand that says stop, because you must end your movement here. You are able to gain some money. You take one of these Seminole cows into your discard pile, 2 value, 0 points, but this is the timer of the game here. And then you will trade in your hand of cattle for their value. If you have repeat cattle in your hand, those values do not count. So if I had these ones, only 1 of them would count. But since I have this in hand, I have a total of 8 value. I can take any one of my upgrade discs from my board and place it onto the board with just 1 restriction. These discs here that have this black outline have to be spent into these areas, so you have to have at least 10 strength, and you can't repeat in the same area unless it shows a big, wider symbol like that. So I could take this one and put it out here, for example, gaining this immediate benefit. And now I've upgraded either more auxiliary actions, or I've upgraded an auxiliary action, or if I'm able to get up to 10 plus, then I can increase my hand size, I can increase my movement, or I can have a permanent extra one of these ribbons. These ribbons here, as you collect them, can be used to add to the value of cattle you have. So with my 8 in hand plus these 2, I could trade this in for a 10, place this out here, gain these immediate rewards, but then I would have a permanent +1 ribbon always when I go to El Paso. Afterwards, I would draw back up my hand, and play continues this way until this stack of Cemental cows has been depleted, and then the next player who reaches El Paso once this happens will move their marker down here to show they get 2 points at the end of the game. Players get one last final turn to try to get as many points as they can, and then you go into scoring. Every 5 coins is a point, and then anything that you have, any of these buildings that you've built, cattle that you've added to your deck, these end-of-game scoring objectives and bonuses, and all of the employees have values on them. Whoever has the most points is the winner.
So let's go ahead and get started with the elephant in the room, and that is that this production is terrible. I mean, the folded mat, like I don't mind cloth mats, but the fact that it can roll up in the box very nicely.
It fits. Look at it.
It fits.
Look at it right there. See,
and they
it's all rolled
folded
in.
it so that it has this like permanent crease in it. And honestly, game mats, I don't know, maybe you can iron it and stuff, but I would be fearful of messing up the board by ironing it, so I ain't touching that.
I think you can steam it flat. I'm not going to give it too much grief because there are games that have that same type of cloth, that mandala, other ones that I really like.
Right.
I have never before seen a game that gives you a cardboard punch-out of a cube. 2 of them, and then cardboard punch-out of wooden discs. This is in the Lookout, the green line. So
Yeah.
I understand that they're going for some of those like
Very minimalistic.
Yeah, renewable resource type things.
I think my biggest issue, honestly, is the iconography. Like, it's just that it is very detailed and it's very tiny. And so the whole board could have been slightly bigger or used better those actual individual spaces, like the action spaces that you place out, the buildings. You can't see the actions. Like, I'm sitting like this, and I have to lean in to be able to look at them. Like, it's just normal player distance.
But they have those huge, chunky wooden cowboys.
Baby cowboys.
They do look like,
Cannot
little
swallow those.
Mega Blocks, my first cowboys and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a mixed bag of production. I really dislike what you're saying, though. The small print, hard to read and everything like that. Also, there's goals, tiles that you can work towards in the game with symbology on there, just as the original Great Western Trail has a lot of symbology, and it's not all explained in this rule book. Yeah. You can surmise what some of it is, but you're sitting kind of guessing, right? And that's a lot of flubs there for me,
unfortunately.
It
doesn't feel good, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, setting that aside, the actual game I did enjoy. So it's a rondelle where you're slowly building up your own action spaces on that rondelle that other people can land on and do nothing, or you can land there and do awesomeness.
Not nothing, right?
Well, it's true, not nothing.
Yeah. But to be clear, before people jump on us in the cone, did you even play it right? Yes, we played this multiple times. And yes, it feels like the central part of Great Western Trail. The deck of cow cards, same thing, taken right from Great Western Trail. They really did a good job of taking the essence of that game, simplifying it down, and I really mean simplifying, right?
Yeah.
If you've ever read the Great Western Trail rulebook and then you compare it to this rulebook, this is like reading a children's magazine compared to trying to read a research journal. I mean, the original Great Western Trail is so encumbered with rules that people love the game. I'm actually not a huge fan, and now before people get too upset that why am I even in this review, I really love what a lot of companies have been doing with that kind of these simplifications of larger games into like a 45-minute game. Great Western Trail can easily run like 2 hours. This will never.
This, I really think the 60 to 90 minutes might be an overshooting. Maybe your first game 90 minutes, maybe larger player count, but like we played this in less than an hour, the 2 of us.
Right.
Very easily.
Well, and as long as, even with a larger group of people, right, every time that people are just decently paying attention to their turns, it goes quick. Every turn is, move, do action, draw back up cards if need to. The whole getting back to El Paso is way simpler than the process of going to KC Kansas City, in the original game. This just really streamlines it all down. But does it shave off too much, I'm sure, is a question that a lot of people have.
I think that this is what I expected it to be in the sense of lightness. And I would say that it is lighter if you're going to compare like Pirates of Maracaibo. I would say it's lighter than that by far. But it is a nice rondel with a little bit of deck building, a little bit of, building up your buildings or building your cows or building your, your, what do you call them, like the worker people?
Yeah, the worker cards.
The worker cards. So there's a little bit of those buildings. They did add that little train at the bottom, which I guess is not in the original Great Western Trail. And it's just another thing you can build up. But I think that it is light and it's meant to be that weeknight game because you can't play Great Western Trail. I mean, you can play it in the weeknight if you want to, but I wouldn't just pull it out any old evening, whereas I would pull this out. And so I think that it is a lot lighter. It doesn't have anywhere near the depth of strategy, but it is a solid game.
It still has good strategy. It still has all of those winks and nods that you want in a game like this, the simplification kind of a game. The train, they do away with the whole train track and all that stuff, and they just put some cards out there. I actually really like the change they did with the workers, because in the original, instead of getting the tokens that you place out into your board, these are cards that go into your deck, and you get those really fun moments where you're like flipping, okay, draw back up to 4. Worker, ooh, worker, ooh, 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 ooh. Last cow. Okay, fine, right? It does a good job of simplifying a lot of other abstract processes into this smaller core.
Yeah, so I think if I were to step away and just look at this as the game that it is itself, not expecting it to be heavy, not expecting it to be this deep strategic game, but as a weeknight game, I think that it does a lot of good things with the way that you kind of quickly engine build up and then the game is over.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and share my score of this game. With all that preface, there's a lot I think that this game does a lot of things very successfully and does it well. I do not like the game. I just don't have any fun with it every time I try playing it.
Is it a frustration?
It's a boredom, actually. It's a
Okay.
mix of I don't find the core loop of the game terribly interesting, as I don't with the original Great Western Trail, right? But this succeeds in a lot of areas of speeding up and all that stuff, all the stuff I've mentioned that it does really well in. But score-wise, I'm giving this a 5 out of 10. It seems low, and in part it's the production issues, it's the iconography issues, it's the fact that this is the 4th go at a Great Western Trail game, and I'm still having issues remembering minus coin on a teeny little font means pay in this, you know what I mean? It's just, I still have those same issues I have from the original. It is an improvement for me. I greatly dislike the original, right? But I think that all the things that you're saying, it's a good weeknight version of it. The 5 is my personal rating of it. I think that this is going to be much higher for a lot of people. I just don't like the core loop of going around feeling like I'm going to go to the same stops. Got it. I know what to do. I'm going to hit up this one and go back to El Paso, and that's exactly what I'm going to do for the next few turns. Nothing outside of that card flip is that exciting for me. So I feel like I finally understand Tom's 5 rating of Brass Birmingham, where like, yes, good game, well designed. I see all of the reasons that people will like it. I don't like it. It's a 5.
That's fine. It's not for you. I enjoyed this, and I think that it was a great, should I say great game? I think it's a good game. It's a solid good game. So I'm going to give this a 7. I like that weeknight aspect of it, the time length with the depth of strategy. I don't feel like the deck building is too chaotic random because those cards come out of your deck as you draw the individual worker cards. And I really enjoy that mechanism as it builds up. And so you can make good choices. You can make informed choices. And I love that in games when I get to see the randomness come out and then I get to make decisions. I like the way the buildings work. I could see this expanding because I can see it really needing an expansion because I feel like you said, you'll kind of go around a few times and you'll kind of get the feel of what it is. Like the level 1 building is always going to be the level 1 building. The level 2 building is always going to be the level 2 building. And so you're going to see...
There's two sides to them, right?
Yeah.
But in a single game, you're like, got it.
This is it. And even in the variability of that, it's just not very much, you know? Yeah. And so I could see it getting a little stale. But I think in a world of lots of gamers where you have tons and tons of games, like... this is going to have enough variability for me to give it a 7. So, there you go.
Well, there you go. So, maybe not great, but good Western Trail.
Good Western Trail.
El Paso. El Paso actually is Spanish for the good Paso.
The good Paso.
The good Paso. All right, so
what's a Paso with you?
So, a high score of a 7, giving this one a seal of approval from us here at the Dice Tower. Thanks for coming out to this review. My name's Chris Yi.
I'm Wendy Yi.
And choo-choo. Wait, there's not a lot of trains in this game. Cow.
Moo moo.
That's the one.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Bassel.